One of my absolute favorite things to do, whether it's in Call of the Wild or Classic, is to do hunts kind of based on whatever season is either upcoming or current here in PA. And for those of you that maybe are not aware, we have just recently entered the final big game season of the 2021-2022 license year, and that is the late season, or kind of more broadly known as the primitive arms season. Now, the late season in PA is notorious for pretty much one thing and one thing only, and that is flintlock muzzleloaders. Now, unfortunately in Call of the Wild, the closest thing I can get to that is a caplock muzzleloader, but it's just kind of a tradition to use a flintlock here in PA during that season. So, we're not only going to be hunting whitetail today, I did want to at least start with that, and we're definitely going to be focusing on them a little more than we have at all thus far on Mississippi. But because we have the muzzleloader, we are going to go around and look for maybe some alligators and other stuff on this map, not only PA species and not only whitetail. Now, you may have noticed I don't have the scope on the muzzleloader. That is not a legal, say, piece of equipment in the late season. You do have to use the open sights, so just in the spirit of that, we're running with the open sights today. As I mentioned, the late season in PA is more broadly known as the primitive arms season, and that is because another common weapon to use is actually a compound bow. And I went with the high-tech pack. I think it's called like the Gator bow, or not. I got the it's Gator for the beginning, and then Orpheus is the specific kind here. And I went with that one because it's most similar to my bow that I used for this season, and that I plan to at least try to use a little bit in the late season, kind of with those orange colored cams. So I decided to go with those two weapons. I think I would like to try to bow hunt a little bit in the late season, and I never have shot a deer with a flintlock, so that's going to be the focus for both this video and my at least broader part of the late season. And with those two weapons kind of showing off a little bit, we are going to head out. We'll try to get some whitetail, try to get some gators, and like I said, just kind of see what multiplayer has to offer today. Now, I do also have today the 22 LR, and the main reason we're not going to worry about trying to hunt turkeys with the bow is it's not really in the spirit of the video anyway. We're more so looking to late season, and if not for the fact that, I mean, we don't have to worry about tags and stuff in the game, we probably wouldn't even bother going after them, but they're around. I wanted to check this meadow. I thought whitetail might feed around here, but it kind of looks like they do not, so at least we managed a decent turkey. And if we could actually get out of this tower, it was one with a chance at making diamond. And again, going back to what I mentioned at the beginning, it's just cool to be hunting species that I'm used to seeing here in PA. I mean, that fan is exactly what you expect out of an eastern turkey. Apparently there are whitetail around here, just kind of hiding back there in the brush. It is a 4.3 gold. Nice little bronze plumage type there, and at least it kind of led us over here to where the whitetail are. Now, with the wind being as it is, I think we're going to try to back up into the brush and call them out of there. The buck is not looking all that special, and in fact, he is nervous, so we must have spooked him as we were running over there to grab the turkey. But that is one, especially with the poor wind direction, that we'll go ahead and take with the caplock muzzleloader, and at least our third buck down now here on Mississippi. And, you know, we really haven't targeted whitetail that much. We did shoot a troll level 3 on one of the early access streams, but I'm not even super familiar with the areas that they feed. The drink zones, as per usual, are fairly obvious. Naturally, they're going to be near the water, but trying to find some of these feed zones when we kind of switch servers and end up in a different time can be a little difficult. I think up along this road can be decent. We may give that a try. It's such a different style of hunting than we're used to, and it really does add a touch of realism to the game, kind of just taking a different approach. But one thing that is, I would say, maybe more often done in the late season than in other seasons in PA is kind of still hunting, sort of like what we're doing now, slowly moving around and trying to get in position for a shot. And I also generally associate kind of like smaller bucks and does with late season more so than larger bucks, although anytime I go out, I'm always kind of hoping for a bigger one. Now, this year, for the first time in quite some time, I do not have a buck tag to fill in that late season, so it's all about filling the freezer, and I guess maybe in some ways a doe in real life kind of correlates to some of the smaller bucks, silvers, and golds in Call of the Wild, so kind of still keeping some correlation there by shooting bucks. I don't think shooting does make for the most entertaining video, but we've actually had some pretty decent success with the whitetail thus far. Fox may be a difficulty with the muzzleloader. In fact, we wouldn't be able to take it. So we do have the 243. If it turns out to be a decent one, or if it turns out to give us any shot opportunity if we can find it, I wouldn't mind trying to get that. There is another whitetail over in there. I believe that's the red variant. And unfortunately, if he is going to cut down the hill there, it might make for a difficult shot, but just kind of the way the terrain slopes, we may have an opportunity. Yeah, right down through there. Had to take that shot quickly before our breath kind of ran out and the sights would have been going everywhere, but that was a level 6 with a chance of being gold. And I'm not even sure what to make of Gray Fox now. I think maybe we could try to make another multi-mount someday, but the one that we got, the Piebald Diamond, I mean, I don't know that there's any top in that. I do want to lose Cystic, so maybe that could be something to actually grind for, but nice little 5.3 gold red variant Gray Fox. I might call it a less than ideal way to encounter a gator with a bow, but it was something I wanted to do today, and while there's one around us, I figure we'll at least attempt a shot, and there's a good chance we're going to see a bunch in the very near future here. I don't know, that shot actually brought him down really quick. The first one I think was too far back. I don't know where that one impacted. It was a vertebrae and spinal cord shot, and we got through the lungs. Nice little gold gator with the bow. Not, like I said, the ideal way to have it happen, but it's just kind of a byproduct of hunting them in this area, and I've shown it on the last bunch of gator hunting videos. We keep coming down here and taking a look. I feel like it's one of the maybe kind of lower pressured areas of Mississippi in terms of gators. Everybody likes the river, obviously, and the lakes up here, and for good reason. There are a ton of gators up there, but I never really see that many zones or that much hunting pressure down in this area, so I like to give it a look. It hasn't paid off with anything huge just yet, but I would like to think if we continue doing it, eventually a good one's going to come out of here. Well, it sure didn't take long to pay off. We've got a legendary gator across the way. Apparently he is just nervously resting among it looks like a number of other gators. And the problem is right now he's facing us. Now, of course, we don't have sights. The wind is good, but once we get up here to the edge of the water, I don't really know what we're going to do. I mean, we can't get much closer. We're almost going to have to kind of intentionally alert him, and then probably let him try to settle back down resting, ideally broadside, and then probably go for a longer muzzleloader shot. That's what I'm seeing right now, probably the most viable option. He is alert there. I mean, if we could get a decent angle, I felt like that could have been good. Now, the water out here can get deep enough for them to escape in. I don't know what the most viable... There are gators everywhere. That's our guy. He's dropping. Okay, if we just hang on to the bow and don't let him get out to the right side, I think there's a chance. There's one right there. We may need to shoot him again, I don't know. But he's very much in the shallows right now, so fingers crossed he eventually just dies and floats up. Maybe that wasn't the best idea, but I don't know what else we should have done. Like, these guys are right here. They're not going anywhere. We might be okay just because of where we are. The intensity of waiting, though, is killing me. He just popped up. My goodness. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I mean, there's gators right under the water. Do they always do this? Because it looks really cool. It's also really terrifying. I don't know if they'll attack like that. That's a dark brown. His minimum estimate is 481. Please make it. Yes. A 500 score dark brown alligator with open sights on a muzzleloader at 91 meters. What on earth? That's so cool. I still am questioning the decision making. Probably shouldn't have gone for that, but he made it. It worked out. And I will admit the location that we're in did play a factor. I mean, again, we're in this area where it's hard for them to escape, but we're in the one spot where they can. Out to our right, they can in fact get away. I think they don't often go that way, and that is what saved us. But on that note, I don't think there's a better ending. That was about as intense as it gets, waiting for that to potentially pop up. So we're gonna head back to the Trophy Lodge. It may be a kind of odd decision, but I decided to keep the lower scoring of our Diamond Olive Gators, only because it was a stream kill and I just thought it kind of worked out in a pretty cool way. And also, the Diamond Dark Brown is almost the exact same score as the other olive. It was 500.6, so our personal best is currently not displayed. But what I wanted to do was have this variety in the lodge, and I still do think it would be cool to get a rare. I'm considering actually maybe moving these feral goats. We'd kind of do it in a different spot in the lodge, most likely maybe with these two, just to add variety throughout. But I think gators over top of the doorway might work pretty well, so maybe if we can get that gold rare eventually, that could go up there with the other diamond. And yeah, like I said, we could kind of move this display, but that's what I really wanted. And you know what? It was the last multiplayer hunt, I think, on Mississippi Acres where we shot the diamond quail over here. Obviously, the super rare piebald diamond fox that's in the other room. It was a change of loadout that ultimately resulted in that stuff. And this was just meant to be a fun hunt. Like, we were shooting small bucks throughout, and then all of a sudden there's a legendary gator in front of us. And what a weird circumstance to end up getting that. But anyway, I think that officially is going to do it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.